is the one to see. Call 387-2323.
LA filing number 16-7970.
WNXX, Jackson, KNXX, Donaldsonville, and WDGL HD2 Baton Rouge. This hour brought to you by Spencer Callahan Injury Lawyers, LA 21-12681. Offices in Baton Rouge. Now, The Hunt Palmer Show. You are now listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Corks, Cajun Fried Fish and Shrimp on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Locking down the middle of the day. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios. This is Hunt Palmer.
Welcome in. Hunt Palmer coming to you from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio downtown in the capital city on this Football Friday. Fired up to be here for the next 2 hours. We got a lot of football to get to this weekend. It'll be LSU and Missouri, 11 o'clock kick. Well, just after 11 o'clock in Columbia, Missouri, and the Saints and Patriots. Noon Central Time up in Foxborough. We'll talk about all that. SEC picks against the spread an hour from right now. Preston Guy in 15 minutes. You know the drill by now on our Football Fridays. Appreciate you hanging out with us all day long, live and local on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Starts in the morning with Off the Bench and leads into live at lunch on Palmer Show after further review. Louisiana Prep preview. Catholic High tonight against Liberty, and then Louisiana Prep scoreboard immediately there following. So we're live and local, 7 a.m. until midnight on Fridays. Thanks for being a part of that. Got Casey Gaines and Jacob Beck back there on the ones and twos. Let's get into LSU and Missouri. Last week I told you that both LSU and Ole Miss were going into this game saying we got a chance to turn a bit of a corner here, or somebody's going to be doing some real soul searching. And I think it's very safe to say that LSU has done a significant amount of soul searching this week, so much so that they hired an 82-year-old defensive line coach to come in and try to figure something out. And we've talked a lot about the LSU defense all week, and we've talked a lot about the Missouri offense all week. We flipped the field as well, but I think one of the things that I have not touched on as much is the LSU running game, which I featured on Tuesday, against this Missouri run defense, which statistically is very good. They lead the conference in running defense, 74.8 yards per game. They've only allowed one rushing touchdown all year. And I told you this week, hey, you know, we're just about to the point where you can start using statistics and feel like they've got some substance to them. Most teams in the Southeastern Conference have played a couple of teams that they shouldn't have even been on the field with. Everybody's basically got a loss. You've basically played about the same mix of competition, so it's not some significant fallacy when you look at the statistics. However, I can look at Missouri leading the conference in run defense at 75 yards a game. I can look at them only allowing one rushing touchdown all year. I can look at them only allowing 2.5 yards per carry this year, and all of those stats look phenomenal. But I'm going to look a little bit closer at Missouri's run defense, because Kansas State is really the only good football team Missouri has played. And I use that term a little bit loose. I don't think Memphis is great. I know Vanderbilt stinks. So Kansas State, I look at and I go, okay, well, how'd they run the ball? At Missouri, big game, sellout crowd. Was Missouri able to stop that Kansas State running game? Well, Kansas State ran it 24 times in that game with their running backs for 118 yards. That's 5 yards per carry. That's double what they're giving up on the season. So I think it's reasonable to think LSU will run the ball. And we know that LSU has found a little something here. And Jaden Daniels was meeting with the media earlier this week, and he was asked about the emergence of Logan Diggs.
He's done a great job, in the pass pro and the running game, he runs very hard. And I'll say that's what all our running backs, they run very hard, and, he had the high hand. You keep rolling with the high hand. So, Coach Frank does a great job with developing running backs from Logan to Josh to John Emery to even the young guys, Caleb Jackson, those guys. So, kudos to Coach Frank and what he does in that room and how he gets those guys prepared.
I think it's safe to say that Diggs has a hot hand. 14 carries for 96 yards against Arkansas, 19 carries for 101 against Ole Miss. That's That's churning them up. And y'all were watching the games. Logan Diggs never ripped off a 78-yarder to skew any of the stats. He's not even ripping off 50-yarders. He's consistently pushing the pile, making a guy miss, getting up the field, and getting 5 to 7 yards. That's what the majority of Logan Diggs' runs have been, and that's exactly what LSU needs to complement this offensive firepower in the passing game. LSU's going to move the ball on Missouri. I think they'll run it on Missouri. I think they'll throw it on Missouri. That's not really a concern of mine at all entering this game. What it'll likely come down to, and this is, as I look at this LSU team and we start to understand what its identity is, this is going to start to be the talking point just about every Friday. It just is. Red zones. Red zone touchdowns. Because we feel like LSU is going to move the ball, okay? We feel like LSU is going to have trouble getting a ton of stops. They're going to get the ball moved on them. If you believe otherwise, God bless you. I love it. I'm just not quite there. I think we've pretty much got a sample size that would suggest they've even been better since a couple of mishaps against Florida State. Missouri, in terms of red zone defense, number 10 in the SEC. In terms of red zone scoring percentage defense, they are number 12 in the SEC. Near the bottom in terms of getting stops when teams get into the red zone. I heard a great term that we played on this show earlier this week, Eli Drinkwitz on the SEC teleconference, calling these 4-point plays. And that's not a term I'd ever heard, but I kind of like it. And a 4-point play is a defensive stop in the red zone that forces a team to get 3 instead of 7. You save yourself 4 points, 4-point play. Think of 4-point play, I think James Harden kicking his leg out and throwing a 3 in. 4-point play on the football side of things, teams get in the red zone, you stop them, force a field goal. LSU is going to have to get touchdowns. Have to get touchdowns. Missouri, understanding that they're probably not going to put the clamps on LSU, is going to try to force teams into field goal. And it even works the other way. Missouri's going to move the ball. Brady Cook is playing his best football the last 3 weeks. We've told you about Luther Burden all week. You understand Theo Weiss on the outside. Like, they've got some ability, and LSU's not going to fix this defensive problem with 4 days of practice and Coach Jenkins coming out there with a whistle. That ain't going to fix it all. They can get better. They're still going to give up yards. It's going to happen. But can they get some 4-point plays? If you can force 3 of those possessions that come down the field to stop and result in a field goal, now we're really talking. You're talking about taking 12 points off the board. And when you take 12 points off the board from another team and you realize what LSU is going to do on the offensive side of the football, the math starts to work. Now, I don't know if LSU can block A&M's defensive front. I don't know if LSU can go up and down the field against Alabama. I have my reservations about those games down the way. I'm confident sitting here today that LSU will move the ball up and down the field against this Missouri defense. The question becomes, okay, can you punch it in when you have to? They've done it at a better clip than anybody in the league, and Missouri's been almost as bad as anybody in the league at stopping teams when they get down there. And then you flip it on its head and you say, LSU, defensively, I know you're not going to just, put the clamps on this team, shut down the run game, cover guys with like glue. That's not going to be the case. But when they get to 3rd and 6 from the 19, can you get a stop? Can somebody come off the edge and make a pressure? Can somebody on the defensive front get their hands down up and bat it down? Can somebody in coverage make a play on the football and force a field goal? That's what it feels like it's going to come down to LSU. I sat here just 7 days ago and I said this is going to be back and forth between LSU and Ole Miss. It's going to go up, and I think it's going to be the same. That bums me out to say that. I don't want to sit here and say that. I don't want to sit here and watch that. I like the LSU defenses of old that suffocated people. That era is about gone, and this team don't got it. So now you adjust your expectation. You adjust your analysis of the game. And it bums me to drop LSU to that level, but here we are. The good news is that, as I said last week, and as I still say this week after a loss, you can still trust that LSU offense. Just got to trust them when it matters in the red zone, in the tight zone, to get touchdowns and not settle for field goals and not give up those 4-point plays, but make them on the other end of the football. That is the most important thing for this LSU team right now. Our Friday show is brought to you by Corks, Cajun Fried Fish and Shrimp. Get on by for a late lunch to Corks, or you can feed the office with Corks. Tell you this, my wife is in healthcare, and they get lunch brought in to the hospital a good bit. And yesterday I got a text. She said, walked into the break room, Michael Badinka and the crew at Corks over there setting things up. And she actually really enjoyed the batterless shrimp and catfish. We love fried catfish. I love fried catfish and fried shrimp. Wife's trying to be a little more mindful of what she's eating. You don't have to get the batter on it. Still got that delicious seasoning, and it is fantastic over there at Corks. So for a little lighter option there, no batter. They can help you out with that. It's right there on Government between Jefferson and Foster. Great new food concept. They bring you our Friday shows, and we certainly do appreciate Corks Cajun Fried Fish and Shrimp. Check out the menu, corksfishandshrimp.com. We'll get to the NFL slate here in about 20 minutes. We've got our anniversary to get to at the end of this hour. Got SEC picks against the spread. Going to look over at Tuscaloosa. That's the College Station for Alabama and A&M. We got a big one between Kentucky and Athens between the hedges. We'll get to that. My pick on Saints and Patriots coming up. My pick on LSU and Missouri coming up. It's all coming at you here on a Friday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show.
You are now listening to the Hunt Palmer Show.
Boudreaux's Electrical, just getting towards the end of storm season here in South Louisiana, and I'm okay with the quiet storm season, but we know that another one is inevitable, and that's why Boudreaux's Electric is here to help. While it's not storm season, get someone over from Boudreaux's Electric to come over and install a Generac generator at your home. Neil and Melissa Boudreaux have been running the company for 40 years, and they still run it like that small family business, but they've got some newfangled contraptions, some really cool modern technology, like their ability to monitor your generator 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And they've also got some great new deals. Every Generac generator that they sell at Boudreaux's Electric comes with a 10-year free warranty. 10 years for free. How are you going to beat that? Boudreaux's Electric, same phone number they've had for 40 years, 985-397-1562. 985-397-1562. Give them a call. Get your home set up with that Generac generator so that when the power goes out, you don't have to worry about it. You can find them at Boudreaux's Electric.
Our listeners fire off their opinions on the jimsfirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the jimsfirearms.net hotline on 1045 ESPN Baton Rouge.
There it is, the extra mile. On the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further. Like vans customized for work or play. With safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Bayou Ford has the Bayou.
Running Boards Marketing can help you get their attention. Imagine your brand's message on a giant LED billboard truck that can't be skipped and is nearly impossible to ignore. Running Boards Marketing is the leader in effective and affordable advertising on digital mobile billboards, which are 2 times more effective than traditional billboards. With a 97% recall rate, you'll leave a lasting impression with your customers.
Scooncha, fall in the air. Fall is right around the corner, which means fall fishing is, which means It's time for you to take your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service in a bunch of different ways. You want a custom stair job, you can have a ton of fun out there on the water. They can do that. What about a spot lock trolling motor? So you stay right where you need to in casting lines. Or sonar that's let you see the fish under the water before you cast. All of your maintenance needs as well. For 38 years, they've been at it and will continue to do so. The Sherman family of front-to-back boat service.
Would a couple that just came from a couples massage have any use for the massage seats of the Infiniti QX60? Yes, it appears they would. With driver and passenger massage seats, mute all your notifications and feel
Week 6 in the prep football season, and we get started with Louisiana Prep Preview presented by Brock at 6. Catholic High and Liberty kick off at 7, and that's immediately followed by the Week 6 edition of Louisiana Prep Scoreboard presented by Lake Urgent Care. On YouTube, Your View, and 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
You're listening to the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Corks, Cajun Fried Fish and Shrimp.
Trying to think of the low points of my week this week. Had an issue at the bank with a check that I endorsed incorrectly, so we had to get that straightened out. What else went sideways this week? Had to console my cat during the roofing situation. That was definitely the low point of her week. It's been a decent week. Not too many low points to speak of. Of course, I didn't chart the LSU defense at any point this week. Preston Guy, our next guest, did. TigerBait.com. He's with us every Friday. Joins us on the Jim's Firearms Hotline. Did you at least have a cocktail during that, or how do you get through that?
Hunt, I needed a cocktail, and not only just as an LSU alumni. I mean, obviously grew up loving these Tigers, but as a lover of the sport, right? It was just some bad football on display. And I guess I made it worse for myself only focusing plays that went 10 or more yards. But it just, basically you throw a dart at the board and you found something else you did wrong. I'd say the things that stuck out the most to me was the loafing around on defense, especially during a live play where you kind of have a chance to go get the defender. There's just something about having pride in your team, not letting a guy gash you for 30 yards and then you're trotting around on the field. Show some pride, show some effort, at least try to go after him. And then the missed tackles, Brian Kelly in his presser did a lot of our homework for us, just told us 34 tackles for 284. It sounds about right. You think about that, if LSU can just tackle well, then LSU wins that game, and it's probably not particularly close. So if you're looking for optimism, there you go.
I have my questions about the talent level in the defensive backfield. I have my questions about their ability to rush the passer in spots. Those I feel like could be difficult fixes. Trying doesn't seem like a difficult fix. Was it that obvious when you were watching? Because when I'm watching the game, that's kind of the last thing I'm looking for is a guy that's not really given 110%, as they say.
Yeah, the thing is about loafing is it's something you kind of catch on your review a lot more. But this time when I was watching it live, I noticed it, particularly on, long runs where the backside safety or backside corner, just doesn't feel like sprinting across the field. And it's like, man, you're a heralded athlete who probably runs a 4.5 40. Go run them down. See if you can trip them up or something, And you saw it from, one of the things stood out, Ashton Stamps, his loaf. That one is just ingrained in my head because you're talking about a freshman getting on the field. He should be having a lot of optimism and energy, and coaches have spoken so highly of him. And it's just like, what was going on, man? You're the backside. You were within 10 yards, but then just started jogging toward him. It's rare that it sticks out on your first watch, but when I noticed 2 or 3 times watching it live, I said, I bet you it's going on a lot more, and it was. On those 10 or more yard plays alone, I counted 13.
That's disheartening, to say the very least. Deuce Chestnut not with the team right now. Ryan Kelly kind of laid out the four corners that they're going to roll with. Do they have a better combination of corners? Is there one that's any better than the other?
Hunt, it seems like no matter who you've tried out there this year, they haven't been too successful. And a lot of it is the style in which you're playing. I do think you're going to have to let these guys do some more man coverage. And like Lane Kiffin just put on a masterpiece of a show, just how to abuse a heavy zone system, and a lot of these guys are just playing too far off. I think Zy Alexander is the one guy that they're really married to. And I think that other corner spot, they're just looking for something to stick. But even Zy hasn't been perfect. Albeit against Ole Miss, they really didn't, other than when they were playing soft zone coverages and they know he gives up, 5 or 6 yards on a dig and a curl. They really weren't bullying him too much. They were looking the other way. I wish I had that answer, Hunt. If I did, I'd probably be making 10 times as much as I do now.
Pete Jenkins has made a lot of money throughout the course of his career coaching the defensive line. Can he help?
Yeah, he definitely has an opportunity to help. I still believe the defensive line is the most talented unit on this team. They're just not really playing like it. Throughout the year, it's been a lot of close, no cigar moments for this defensive line. And in the run protection, the run game, they've been getting blown off the ball. I counted a lot of defensive linemen getting blown off the ball, which just, not only gets your linebackers blocked, but then you're not able to stop the run yourself. Their stances are terrible. Jacobian Guillory goes out there with his butt squatted way back as if he's in a offensive tackle pass stance. Consistently throughout the game. I had to stop counting. It was disgusting me too much. They're 1 to 2 yards off the ball. These are a lot of fundamentals, and that was the theme of my film study. It's less about the actual plays being called and more about the execution and fundamentals. If you're 2 yards off the ball, the lineman is 1 yard off his ball. He's got a 3-yard head start when he comes downhill trying to block you. You let a 300-pound man get that much momentum to push you in a run block, you're just going to get toast every single time. That is the worst-case scenario. And you've heard guys like T-Bob ranting on that, saying, that's exactly what I want as an offensive lineman. You shouldn't be hearing that. So, yes, I think Pete Jenkins, because it's cleaning up of the fundamentals, and we all know about John Janet coaching out of position and Jimmy Lindsey and the struggle that's been going on there, yes, I do think he has an opportunity to quickly make an impact with these guys. Whether or not they're actually doing it, we're just going to have to see. Getting the coaching and being receptive to the coaching and then executing on the coaching are all different things, as we know.
So let's look at this Missouri offense. Brady Cook's thrown for over 320 in 3 straight weeks, and Luther Burden looks like one of the best players in college football. First of all, what do they do with him?
Well, here's how you stop the Missouri offense with this LSU defense. You don't. You roll out Jaden Daniels and you score 45, and you hope that's enough. That being said, you got to try to aim for that bend, don't break defense. The goal from this defense, and I think we all kind of had this in our mind watching fall camp. No one thought that this defense was going to go out there and be a top 5 defense this year. We saw the struggles in fall camp. The signs were there. Can they be average? Can they be that 50, 60th ranked unit in the country instead of, 117th or whatever they rank right now? They definitely have enough talent to be that average unit. You tell me LSU didn't recruit enough guys to be just middle of the pack in the SEC? That's I will never believe that. Can you hold them, to a reasonable amount? Instead of 706 yards, can you limit them to 500? And if you just focus on tackling, sure, give up that dig on a soft zone, but you got to tackle your guy. The standard you're trying to elevate your play is you're not trying to go from the worst defense to the best defense in the country. You're just trying to go from the worst defense to a defense that plays well enough to give your elite offense a chance to win the game.
Did you at least chart the elite offense, or you bypassed that whole thing and just went for the disaster?
No, I didn't. I tend to only chart the problem of the week. I try to find what went wrong in the game and look at it and see how that can be fixed. You know, I mean, charting the good stuff. It's like, yes, Jaden Daniels with an NFL throw. Oh, look, another NFL throw. What does that really do for you? You know, you don't really learn anything from that. If I had to critique the offense, they got really conservative at the back end of the game, really trying to milk that clock off instead of, you know, having that killer instinct. Go down there and score again. I thought sticking Caleb Jackson in the game so late and calling a swing pass to him in that situation where you absolutely must have that first down, you hit him in the hands, great play design, wrong player. That's not his game, at least not yet.
Yeah.
And then Logan Diggs was just killing it all game long, and he's a great receiver out of the backfield. What was with that personnel decision? That drives me nuts. But outside of that, you know, there's not too much to critique on the offense. I mean, they were fantastic. They hung up, 49 points, did their part.
I think you alluded to this answer a little bit earlier, but I'll ask it a little bit more directly. A lot of times, whether it's Kevin Sumlin at A&M or Josh Heupel at Tennessee, teams that run this real tempo offense whose defenses are struggling, we always say, well, why don't you slow it down a little bit, give your defense a chance to rest, control the clock, whatever. Do you want to see a little bit more of that, or just say, hey, your job as an offense is not to help the defense at all. Your job is to go score 50 points if you can do that?
Hunt, that is my biggest fear this week, is that they're going to see what happened to their defense, and they're going to start trying to play defense on offense, and they're going to tweak with a unit that is top 5 in the country. You've got a quarterback who is deserving of Heisman love right now, although he's not getting any because his defense gave up 45 and 55 points in 2 losses, that they're going to meddle with that to try to help out their defense. And, we saw what happened to that offense when they got a little more conservative at the back end of the game. And we've seen what's happened with Jaden Daniels with his development this year, quite frankly, because he has gotten more aggressive and more accurate with his downfield passing, and you really want to keep on doing that. That's what makes this offense elite. Jaden Daniels developing as a downfield passer is what has elevated this offense from good to elite, and it can revert back into being conservative where you're scoring, 20-something points against Texas A&M last year. You don't want to go back to that. You want this unit to keep on playing exactly the way it is. So I'm very afraid of the fact that, yes, they may try to do that, but I hope they don't.
How do you think it goes tomorrow morning?
Vegas has LSU as 6.5-point favorites. And everything you watched last week and the matchup of Brady Cook versus this defense and how excited Missouri is with their program would tell you the opposite of that. Makes me think that Vegas knows something LSU doesn't. I also think this defense will revert to the mean. I don't think they are as bad as they showed last week because, quite frankly, I don't think I've ever seen a defense actually be as bad as what they showed last week. So I think the defense is going to improve slightly, and they're going to hold them to maybe 35 instead of. I think we're going to see something. I think LSU does take care of business, 42-35. Just not based on what I saw last week, but what I believe they will make adjustments to.
He's Preston Guy with us each and every Friday. Have a great weekend, man. We'll do it next week.
You too, Hunt. See you then.
Preston Guy, TigerBait.com. You can find he and Mike Scarborough on their YouTube channel after it goes final. Appreciate him joining us each and every Friday. When we come back, we'll set the slate for the NFL. It's the Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Snap into action this NFL season with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers get $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place a $5 bet. That's $200 in bonus bets, win or lose. If you've been thinking about joining FanDuel, no better time to get in on the action. The app's easy to use. There's a wide range of betting topics, including spreads, player props, over-unders, and more. Visit FanDuel.com/1045ESPN and kick off the NFL season. FanDuel, official partner of the NFL. Must be 21 and present in Louisiana. First online real money wager. Only $10 first deposit required. Bonus issued knowledgeable bonus bet that expires 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. If you're somebody who knows a gambling problem wants help, call 1-877-770-STOP.
In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com. Follow us on Twitter at 1045ESPN to cast your vote in the Citizens Bank and Trust Poll of the Day. Vote daily inside Off the Bench, live at lunch, Hunt Palmer. And after further review, Citizens Bank and Trust brings you the Poll of the Day via Twitter at 1045ESPN.
His name was Cain. He had a horse along the countryside. I saw him ride. One day they found him.
BRAC teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. BRAC, your #1 park system in the nation.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $12,000 off MSRP or 2.9% for 72 months on all new 23 Ram 1500 trucks in stock. All with Bayou's 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
When is a taco more than just a taco? When it's Government Taco. Voted best tacos 3 years in a row by 225 Magazine, Government Taco puts the most delicious spin on tacos the capital area has ever seen. With creative combinations like the Magna Carrot, the Filibuster, or the Steak of the Union. Plus perfect tortilla chips paired with the best salsa and queso you've ever had. And happy hour every day from 3 to 6 p.m. and all day on Thursday. Government Taco, 5621 Government Street.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
The importance of doing this fortified program and offering it to people down here is, number one, the only real chance you're going to get to do this is when you put on a new roof.
This Sunday, as we bring you 3 different NFL games, we'll start at the noon kickoff. That's the Carolina Panthers against the Detroit Lions. Immediately following that, we'll bring you Eagles-Rams, and then the nightcap, the Dallas Cowboys and San Francisco 49ers. So tune in on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Corks, Cajun Fried Fish and Shrimp.
Moving right along here, Friday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show. Get you set up for tomorrow's action here under the roof at Guarantee. It's 11 o'clock kickoff, 11:07 officially the kickoff time between LSU and Missouri. That means it's 7 a.m. right here in the Mercedes-Benz Baton Rouge studio. You'll have Eagle 98.1's Game Day pregame show with Charles Hannegriff and Matt Musso. They'll go from 7 to 9. They'll hand it off to us with the LSU Sports Radio Network at 9 o'clock. Be myself, Big Fave, Marlon Favorite, and Garrett Brumfield, former Tiger offensive lineman. We'll be with you from 9 until about 10:30. We'll hand it off to the broadcast team in Columbia, Missouri. That'll be Gordy Rush, Doug Morrow, and the voice of the Tigers, Chris Blair. They'll have the call of the game 30 minutes after it goes final. Find us on the LSU Sports Radio Network post-game show. Same trio, guys, talking to you for about an hour. And then 90 minutes after the game goes final, from Rouse's, Burbank, and Lee, you'll have Charles Hannegriff and Richard Dixon on Eagle 98.1's post-game show. So about 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. is what you're looking at, maybe to 8 p.m. For LSU game day coverage tomorrow. We do it every week at this time. Go through the NFL tiers. Tier 4 is the trash of the week. Tier 1, the must-see. TV action. We've only got one Tier 4 game this week. A lot of it's jammed in the middle this week. You got one Tier 4 and one Tier 1. In Tier 4, we got the Jets and the Broncos. Denver, that defense. They're allowing 176 rush yards per game, which is putrid. The Jets also not very good at the footballing. They are averaging 4.7 plays per drive this year. You heard that right. 4.7 plays per drive. Something's got to give. Denver can't stop anybody. The Jets can't get a first down. Oh, by the way, the reason the Jets are 4.7 plays per drive, they're the worst in the NFL in third down conversions at 27%. That is going to be a dreadful football game to watch. It is firmly in Tier 4 here. A lot of NFL action in Tier 3 this weekend. The Texans will play the Falcons. Desmond Ridder, how about this? At home, Desmond Ridder 4-0, 68% completion. Very good. On the road, 0-4, 59% completions. Not very good. C.J. Stroud still has not thrown an interception. Third longest streak all time by a rookie. Panthers at the Lions is in Tier 3. This is my survivor pick. I forgot to give one last week. I will have the Lions hosting the Panthers as my survivor pick, trying to get to Week 9 there. We're inching closer. The Lions have scored 20 points or more in 13 straight games, longest in franchise history. Plus, they get Jamison Williams back from a little gambling dust up there, so I love the Lions to take out the Panthers. That's my survivor pick this week. The Titans are at the Colts. Tennessee's won 5 straight against the Colts, and the Colts have lost 7 straight home games. 7 straight home losses for the Indianapolis Colts. Gotta like Tennessee in that one if those trends can hold up. The Giants are at the Dolphins. The Giants, in terms of sacks per pass attempt, are the worst pass rushing team in the NFL. That does not sound good with Tua and company coming to town, or them going to Miami, I guess I should say. The Giants, not great on the pass rush. The Dolphins are scoring like crazy, and they just traded for Chase Claypool earlier today. So a Dolphins offense is going to be a lot of fun to watch. Look, the Bengals are at the Cardinals. This is Tier 3. Cincinnati is 31st in the NFL in run defense. It's not just that Joe Burrow's calf is hurt. Like, they got destroyed by Cleveland. They got destroyed last week. Like, they've just been awful. And the Cardinals are second in the NFL in rush yards per attempt. James Conner running the football for him. Sad to say, I think the Bengals are going to go to Arizona and lose. And the question becomes, like, when do the Bengals take the realization that their quarterback can't really play and you're just doing more harm than good? I'm assuming that's just not going to happen. And he's just going to keep playing through it until it either hurts a lot worse or it finally, time heals it. But I don't like their odds, and I think they're going to go lose to Arizona, unfortunately. I think the Bengals are in big, big trouble. This would usually, I would feel like, be in Tier 1, but I've got it in Tier 3 this week. The Chiefs are at the Vikings. The Vikings are the last team in the NFL that Patrick Mahomes has not beaten. That's an interesting little nugget there. Minnesota, the heaviest blitzing team in the league. I would not recommend doing that quite often against Patrick Mahomes. He will, generally speaking, beat you. I think he's going to beat him anyway because that Vikings defense is rash with a capital T. I love the Chiefs, and I think Mahomes will get his win over the Vikings for the first time. We'll go into Tier 2. There's 3 games in Tier 2 this week. The Jags are in Buffalo. In theory, they're actually in London. This is the second straight London game for the Jags, who I guess are ticketed for London, which makes me want to throw up. The Jags defense is 22nd in the NFL in terms of yards per play, and the Bills offense is humming. I don't think anybody in London's going to know what's going on, but I do think that the Bills are going to score a lot of points in that game and win it. The Ravens are at the Steelers. I guess I'm pulling for the Steelers in that one if I'm trying to keep the Bengals alive. Kenny Pickett's QBR, a tad bit better than mine this year, 29.3, but just a tad bit better. I'm running at a 0 clip at this point. Kenny Pickett, 29.3. The Ravens are second in the NFL in sacks. They're going to get after Kenny Pickett. I don't think that's going to go very well for the Steelers. I think the Ravens go into Pittsburgh and win that one. The Eagles are at the Rams. This is a good football game. Philadelphia has put up 400 yards in 3 straight games on offense. The Rams have not allowed any team to go over 400 yards. Cooper Kupp may be back for the Rams this week. How about this for Jalen Hurts? Really, really impressive stuff. 23-2. in his last 25 regular season starts. 23-2 in the NFL. That's awesome, awesome stuff. The Eagles are for real once again, as we imagine. So those are my Tier 2 games. And then in Tier 1, absolute must-see TV on Sunday night. If you have NBC and your cable provider will give it to you. I don't, so you may must see it. I probably won't get to see it. But the Cowboys are at the 49ers. This game just brings me right back to my childhood. Like, right back to my childhood. It's Aikman, it's Emmett, it's Irvin, it's Novacek, it's Dion on either side. It's Kevin Woodson, it's Ken Norton Jr. on both sides. It's those classic playoff games with Steve Young and Ricky Waters and all those guys. Dallas leads the NFL with 10 takeaways, and San Francisco's only turned it over one time this year. We'll see what gives there. Brock Purdy torches man coverage. He's top 3 QBR in the NFL against man coverage. Dallas plays the most man. Something's got to give there. You got Deebo Samuel, Christian McCaffrey, and Micah Parsons. You got CeeDee Lamb. You got Bosa. Like, it's a showdown out there in Santa Clara, and I would love to watch this one if I got NBC. I do get Fox now. We lost Fox for like a month and a half. I do now get Fox, but I don't get NBC, so I won't be watching on Sunday night. But Cowboys 49ers, very, very good. Very, very good. I'm sure I'm going to get a lot of folks in the Bayou Ford chat telling me to alter this or alter that. We're just sticking with the cable plan until we move. That's we're going to ride it out. I've got issues with a few things in the house that are not organized the way they need to be or taken care of the way they need to be in terms of a day-to-day life situation. We're just gonna run out the clock, and then we'll figure it out when we get to the new place, and we'll get that in order. But at this point, we're not switching cable providers or figuring anything else out. It's just not going to happen, okay? But the Cowboys 49ers should be a pretty good game. So that's the only Tier 1. Got 3 games in Tier 2, 6 games in Tier 3, and just the Jets, Browns, that stinker down there in Tier 4. Want to remind you about Folds of Honor, 104.5 ESPN, along with Acura Baton Rouge, teaming up to honor our military and raise funds for Folds of Honor. This nonprofit organization provides scholarships to spouses and children of soldiers who were killed or disabled in service. To donate to this important cause, visit our website, 1045ESPN.com. Everybody who makes a donation is going to be entered to win exclusive prizes, Folds of Honor, to honor their sacrifice and educate their legacy. All right, one more time out to go here in hour number 1 of our Friday edition presented by Corks, Cajun Fried Fish, and Shrimp. When we come back, we'll hear from LSU quarterback Jaden Daniels. That's next on the Hunt Palmer Show.
You are now listening to the Hunt Palmer Show.
LWCC is Louisiana Loyal, elevating and celebrating champions of Louisiana. Marucci Sports, a champion of Louisiana. I love talking with my folks over at LWCC, and their initiative with this Champions of Louisiana campaign is to elevate and celebrate champions of Louisiana, like I've told you. And that just means recognizing great people, great businesses, great organizations doing great things in our state. People love our state. They love our food. They love the football down here. They love our music and culture, even the winter weather they love. But we ought to be admired as well. And folks like Marucci Sports put us on the map and are admired from afar. We know that dozens of Major League Baseball players use Marucci's equipment. It's also the tourism angle they have with the Marucci World Series and their job creation that keeps talent in Louisiana and brings talent into Louisiana. Marucci, truly a champion of Louisiana. If you know a champion of Louisiana, let's tell their story. Go to lwcc.com/champions, nominate a champion of Louisiana. Marucci Sports is a champion of Louisiana. LWCC is Louisiana Loyal.
Our listeners fire off their opinions on the jimsfirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the jimsfirearms.net hotline on 1045 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Bayou Ford has the new inventory to get you in a new Ford truck or SUV today, or customize your next vehicle just the way you want it. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared toward seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
His name was Cain. He had a horse along the countryside. I saw him ride. One day they found him.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Would a couple that just came from a couples massage have any use for the massage seats of the Infiniti QX60? Yes, it appears they would. With driver and passenger massage seats, mute all your notifications and feel infinitely you.
Moscona inviting you to join us for a Football Friday edition of AFR presented by Don Juan Cigar Bar. Phil Steele previewing the biggest games of the weekend. The Riot Radio Hours, our guest picker. We'll see you Friday, 3 to 6, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
You're listening to the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Corks, Cajun Fried Fish and Shrimp.
It's week by week, but one thing I try to do is no matter what the performance, the good and the bad, it doesn't translate to now. So, I mean, whatever we did on offense last week or the past couple weeks doesn't translate to Missouri. So we got that on to the next mentality because if you keep trying to live in the past, you're not in the present or anything like that.
That's Jaden Daniels, LSU's quarterback, who has done an awesome job thus far. And, one of the things I worry about with college athletes is confidence, intensity, desire when things go south. And unfortunately, we've had this conversation now 4 years in a row. I mean, you could clearly look at LSU after the Tennessee game last year and go, man, I wonder if these kids are gonna step up. You could absolutely look at LSU 2 years ago after you lose to UCLA and there's a bunch of stuff circling around your head coach and you lose to Kentucky and your coach gets fired and you're like, okay, are they going to be fired up and ready to go? You can look at a team who's 3 years ago, their best player, Jamar Chase, opts out and your quarterback gets hurt and there's nobody in the stands and now all of a sudden you've lost a bunch of games in a row and like, are you going to show up and play and respond? Like, what's your confidence level? What's your energy level? How well are you going to respond to adversity? I always question that in college athletes. Now, the vast majority of the time, college athletes do respond really well. I've only seen a couple of teams that I thought just flat waved the white flag. LSU certainly didn't in any of those years. They came back and won big games late in all those years. Huge late wins against Ole Miss and Florida in 2020. An awesome come-from-behind last-second win against A&M the next year. Last year, they went on a run and beat Alabama and won the West. So most of the time kids respond, but you worry about it. But that all kind of circles around the defense at this point. I don't think there's a confidence issue in the offense, and Jaden Daniels was asked about just how high that confidence level is. Then let's go with the hype surrounding Jaden Daniels.
I mean, I just give thanks to God for everything. Without him, I wouldn't be in this position. I give thanks to my teammates, the O-line, everybody, just believing in me, making plays. But I mean, on a day-to-day basis, I mean, you hear stuff like that, but, you can't really listen to the noise, listen to the hype, because as soon as you start believing in that, that's when God will humble you.
We're talking about a guy in Jaden Daniels who would, if LSU held Ole Miss last week to 28 points, Jaden Daniels would be squarely in the mix in Heisman discussions. That's where they would be labeling him. Now, I don't know. Maybe there are some people that are talking about Jaden Daniels winning the Heisman. I'm not hearing them. But if LSU wins that game 48-21 and plays great defense, you're talking about a guy who went to Mississippi State in the game that was right after game day and just lit it up, and then came back and made the plays necessary to win a shootout against Arkansas, and then rolled up 50 points at Ole Miss. But unfortunately, because the defense gagged and played the worst game in the history of the school, all of a sudden you look up and you go, well, LSU's already got 2 losses. They're a 3-2 football team. That's not where the Heisman Trophy generally comes from. But his level of play has been that good, and it's been thanks in part, small part, big part, in part, some part due to Malik Neighbors and Brian Thomas.
Special players, it's a blessing to play with those guys. With such a talent, Brian Thomas, that big of a guy who could be able to move like that. Malik, being explosive like that, getting those guys the ball in their hand. And they make plays. They make tough contested catches. So I'm blessed to be able to play with them. They come to me, they get man-on-man, one-on-one coverage, man-to-man. They want the ball. Just giving them a chance to go make a play, and 9 times out of 10 they're going to make it.
LSU's offenses are always the best when you have a receiver duo that just rolls off the tongue. And you can go back 20-plus years doing that. I mean, this team is right now Neighbors and Thomas, and we'll see if they get themselves into that conversation. But clearly Jefferson and Chase did that. Clearly Beckham and Landry did that. In their time, Josh Reed and Michael Clayton were that. Devery Henderson was a great piece to that puzzle the following year. So, that's Bo and Doucette, I think, would probably fit into that mold as well. And hopefully these guys are in that breath because they've been awesome. But we expected that from Malik Neighbors. We expected him to be an all-conference, all-American, first-round potential pick type of guy, and he's been all of those things to this point. Brian Thomas, you were kind of waiting to. I was always saying, remember when Brian Thomas went up and made that play against Florida in the back of the end zone? And we see him in practice doing some really athletic things with that frame, and he's really emerged. And yesterday, Daniels spoke specifically about Brian Thomas.
I mean, he just had the opportunity to go out there and play. Last year, he's kind of in that role of, rotating. This year, he attacked the offseason. We all did. Me, him, Malik, Kyron Lacey, even the young guys, they watched his work, and we just attacked the offseason, with how we wanted our season to be. We knew we had a special group, even from spring to fall to now. So it's all about, the work that we put in the offseason, it's showing up. We got to keep building on it, keep improving, keep getting better week in and week out.
They improved much on what they've done the last 3 weeks. That'll be something to behold. The LSU offense has been fantastic. Told you at the top of the show, I wanted to give a little anniversary shout out here. It is October the 6th in 2023. So we do have to go back 16 years, which makes me want to cry that it's been 16 years. But we go back 16 years to October the 6th, 2007 for the LSU-Florida game. Been 16 years since LSU in 2007. Went for it 5 times in the second half on 4th down and converted. I was a sophomore at LSU. I was right there in the student section. It was as gripping a game as I've ever been in that stadium. I stand firm in my favorite LSU game that I've ever been to was the 2003 Georgia game. I was a sophomore in high school for that one. I was there. It was a day game. Yeah, it wasn't. We didn't know quite where we were at that point, and LSU was number 1 in the country for this Florida game, so we weren't to that level yet, so you weren't certain of the gravity of it, but it just felt like that was the day that LSU announced itself on the scene as a potential threat to the throne in the sport. And LSU Florida in 2007 was just a heavyweight battle. You're talking about a team in Florida Gators that had won the national championship previous year. The LSU team's number 1 in the country and undefeated, and it was just it's a lot of people's favorite game in the history of the stadium. There are folks that will go 97 Florida. 03 Georgia is probably in the very, very small minority. I don't have a lot of compadres there in that one. But 07 Florida for sure gets a ton of votes. You can go back to the USC game. That'll get a lot of votes. The Earthquake game will get a lot of votes. Bama last year, for some of the younger people, may get a ton of votes. But certainly going back 16 years ago, old 18 sits in the chair right across the desk from me right there. Was just awesome that day, and LSU was fantastic. It was a game that I felt at halftime like LSU was in some trouble just being there as a student, and that LSU was going to have to find a way to force a mistake from Tim Tebow that just didn't happen very often. And they got the tipped pass that went up in the air, and they got the pick on it, and that was when I thought, okay, the door is now open. I didn't know when Tebow was going to make a mistake, but he finally did. Ball was tipped up in the air. LSU got the pick, and Tigers were able to cash in and make it stick at the end. A truly, truly special night inside Tiger Stadium. 16 years ago today, October the 6th, 2007. Number 1 LSU 28, number 9 Florida 24. Special, special night in Tiger Stadium. All right, that's it for hour number 1. Friday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show brought to you by Corks Cajun Fried Fish and Shrimp. Check out that website, corksfishandshrimp.com. Order in bulk for the office next week. Corks is fantastic at that. We got a busy hour number 2 coming at you. Excited for that. We'll get you my SEC picks against the spread, and we'll finish the show like we do each and every week with my final pick for Saints Patriots, as well as my final pick for LSU and Missouri from Columbia. We'll break for SportsCenter and come back with more of the Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
One Bath and Closets, onebathandclosets.com is the website. David Duvall and his team been in the game 30 years, redesigning and remodeling bathrooms and closets. Might just be a tub to shower conversion, something simple, something fairly quick, something they can get in, take that tub out, put that gorgeous walk-in shower, changes the aesthetic of your bathroom and the functionality of it as well. Maybe it's a full-scale bathroom renovation. You're thinking, that's what I need. I got to get this whole thing taken care of. But I can't really pay for that right now. Well, you can, because David Duvall and One Bath and Closets now have financing options that they are happy to share with you if you bring them out for a free consultation. They'll show you what they can do. They'll give you an estimate of what that's going to cost, and they can show you their financing options so that you can get that paid for and totally change the look of your house if you're comfortable in the one that you're in. Check out that website. It's onebathandclosets.com. Get the consultation. Look at pictures of their great work. See the testimonials. Check out that website. I tell you, each and every day you can find them at onebathandclosets.com.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
His name was King. He had a horse along the countryside. I saw him ride. One day they found him.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $12,000 off MSRP or 2.9% for 72 months on all new 23 Ram 1500 trucks in stock. All with Bayou's 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Scooncha, fall in the air. Fall is right around the corner, which means fall fishing is, which means it's time for you to take your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service in a bunch of different ways. You want a custom stair job, you can have a ton of fun out there on the water, they can do that. What about a spot lock trolling motor, so you stay right where you need to in casting lines, or sonar that's let you see the fish under the water before you cast? All of your maintenance needs as well. For 38 years they've been at it and will continue to do so. The Sherman family of front to back boat service.
Running Boards Marketing can help you get their attention. Imagine your brand's message on a giant LED billboard truck that can't be skipped and is nearly impossible to ignore. Running Boards Marketing is the leader in effective and affordable advertising on digital mobile billboards, which are 2 times more effective than traditional billboards. With a 97% recall rate, you'll leave a lasting impression with your customers.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
At Relief Windows, we're more than windows. We're windows, doors, party plank, and vinyl siding. But our #1 product is always customer satisfaction. Visit us online at reliefwindows.com. Oh, by the way, we do shutters too.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Doug Brown. The Dolphins will get wideout Chase Claypool in a trade with the Bears pending a physical. Claypool was a healthy scratch for the second game in a row last night after saying he was frustrated with his role in the Bears offense. Miami coach Mike McDaniel.
Sometimes things come across your radar that you weren't even looking for, but when you assess it, if it falls under the category of, this has a chance to make us better, then you jump on that.
Mike McDaniel, the Dolphins have the top passing offense in the NFL. Lions wideout Amon-Ra St. Brown misses practice again today with an abdominal injury. He still hopes to play Sunday against the Panthers. Jets corner DJ Reed is out for Sunday against the Broncos with a concussion. Brandon Echols was already ruled out, so the Jets will be without 2 of their top 4 corners. Max Verstappen wins the pole for Sunday's Qatar Grand Prix. He can clinch his 3rd straight F1 championship in tomorrow's sprint race.
Hey, it's your resident Super Bowl champ, Chris Candy, coming up Monday. Don't miss us recapping the biggest stories from college football as we march towards the college football playoff. It's Unsportsmanlike, 6 a.m. Eastern, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
Ladies and gentlemen, may I direct your attention to something quite extraordinary?
Now, the Hunt Palmer Show. The Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Brought to you by Corks, Cajun Fried Fish and Shrimp. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge Studios. This is Hunt Palmer.
All right, 1 hour to go here. Football Friday edition of Hunt Palmer Show. 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. 1 hour left. We'll do some SEC against the spreads here. We will play some take it or leave it later. We'll get you my final pick for both LSU and Missouri, as well as Saints and Patriots. It's a light SEC schedule this week in terms of number of games. You got Tennessee on a bye, South Carolina's on a bye, Auburn's on a bye, Mississippi State's playing out of conference. So really, you've got 5 conference games to deal with. LSU and Missouri, we never do against the spread, so we'll stick to that. But we'll pick these 5 games against the number. Right now, as I sit here, I've picked every SEC game available against the spread, and I am 23-24 to this point. This is the opportunity for us to get over the hump, to get over 500, and stay there the rest of the year. We've had a couple of winning weeks the last 2 weeks, maybe starting to get a feel for how things are going to go, maybe just lucky guesses. Either way, that's the way it's trending, so we'll try to stay hot. Of course, LSU and Missouri at 11 o'clock. Also at 11 o'clock, Western Michigan at Mississippi State. An absolute classic from Davis Wade. Western Michigan has played 2 Power 5 games. They played Syracuse, and they lost 48-7. They played Iowa, and they lost 41-10. Now, the question begs, if you gave up 41 points to Iowa, how many quarters did they play? That had to have been a 14 or 18 quarter game for Iowa to score 41 points. Either way, Western Michigan, not great. Against Syracuse and Iowa, a total of 89-17. The number is 20.5. Here's the deal. Mississippi State's media is acting like the program is folding. I believe the fans are probably assuming the same. 11 o'clock a.m. games, not that much fun to go to, especially if you're playing out of conference and your team already has a losing record and is showing no signs of improvement. That's where Mississippi State football is right now. Will Rogers last week went back to his struggling ways against Alabama, 107 yards passing, 3 interceptions. There's just no way I can try to lay 21 points with a checked-out fan base, a bad football team at 11 o'clock in the morning. Maybe I'll be wrong, but I think 20.5 is too many points here. I will take the points and Western Michigan. I can't name any player that's ever played for Western Michigan in the history of the program and really don't know anything about them other than the fact that they got clocked by Syracuse and Iowa. But I know enough about Mississippi State to know that I'm not comfortable laying 3 touchdowns. So give me Western Michigan plus the 20.5. Okay, deep breath. Deep breath. I'm in a bad mental space about what's going on in College Station, Texas. a bad mental state. I have spent the better part of 12 years trying to keep Texas A&M stuffed in a locker. I don't have to stuff Arkansas in a locker. They're a non-factor. They're a wimpy little kid who minds his own business. I don't have to do that with Mississippi State either. They're harmless. But I've always told you that I feel like A&M, if they ever got their feet on the ground, could be a problem. But they've never turned into a problem. They've always minded their business. And if we stuff them in a locker, we stuff them in a locker. That happened in 2019. Needed to after they acted out in 2018. But I told you on Monday, when we started talking about this, that I thought the Texas A&M might be the best team in the West. And that has some to do with the fact that A&M's played good football the last 2 weeks. And it has a lot to do with the fact that I hate Alabama's quarterback situation. I think it's awful. LSU's defense is setting atrocious records. Auburn stinks. You want me to talk about Arkansas and Mississippi State? Maybe Ole Miss is good. I don't know. They scored 10 points on Alabama. But I can't marry the fact that A&M's playing pretty good and the West stinks. Like, that is a bad combination for me. Because the last thing I need all those oil folks in Texas to figure out is that, oh, we got a chance to see some momentum here. Let's just throw more money at it. I need them to feel defeated and think Jimbo stinks and pull their money in for buyouts, not 5 stars. That's what I need. And what we've got here is a situation tomorrow at 2:30 inside Kyle Field where A&M can take control of the West. And that makes me physically ill. The number on this game is 1, okay? What were our early complaints about Alabama when they weren't playing well, when they got boat raced by Texas in Bryant-Denny, when they went to South Florida and couldn't play? Well, the offensive line stinks. They're 13th in the SEC in sacks allowed. Oh, really? A&M is second in the SEC in sacks. In the last 2 games, they've got 14 of them. This is my complaint to Hester all these years when Jake, who knows more football than I'll ever know, says, yeah, A&M's got money. Yeah, A&M's got recruiting base. Yeah, A&M's got 5 stars. But they never get it figured out. So why would I think they're going to get it figured out? And my response has always been, Jake, how would you figure it out? If one team was to figure it out, how would they figure it out? And my answer is, well, get a bunch of 5 stars. That'll help you figure some things out. It doesn't guarantee that you're going to win championships, but it's a good start. And by the way, that A&M defensive line is all 5 stars, and they're starting to kick people's butts. And it makes me very uncomfortable. If this was the 2012 Alabama offensive line that had Barrett Jones and Cyrus Quandro and G.J. Fluker and Chance Warmack and all those guys, I wouldn't sweat this for a second. This isn't. This is a freshman left tackle and an Alabama offensive line that couldn't block South Florida. And now they got to go on the road in front of a place that's going to be the atmosphere in college football this weekend and block these guys. We say they got a bad quarterback. Alabama, that was a complaint of ours. Well, they benched their quarterback in South Florida. That would tend to believe that Nick Saban's probably on the same page as us. And A&M's deficiency is their secondary. They're not very athletic back there. And Tyler Van Dyke sat back and just threw it all over him. Well, do I think Jalen Milroe can do that? No. Do I know that Jalen Milroe is going to play? No. They may have to go to Ty freaking Simpson in this game. That is unacceptable. I'm terrified. And let me tell you this. I said it on Tuesday, I think, and I'll echo it right now. I am pulling for Alabama big time tomorrow. I've already lost that war. Them win another championship, them getting to Atlanta, no sweat off my back. Seen it a million times. Wake me up when this rerun's over. A&M getting there and trying to get some momentum in that program, I'm not here for it. No thanks. I hope Alabama wins by 40. What I think's going to happen in this game is A&M wins by 20 points. Y'all roll your eyes. Texas went to Bryant-Denny and lit them up. This ain't your old Alabama. I think that A&M wins this game by 20 points. I've given 2 locks of the century of the week this year. Both of them hit, although one was by 1 point earlier this year. This is another one. A&M covers that number with ease. They're an underdog. They're going to win that right. Makes me sick. Vanderbilt at Florida. I can talk about this one without vomiting on my desk. Florida's an 18.5-point favorite. Vandy's got the number 13 run defense in the SEC, and all Florida wants to do is run the football. Unfortunately for Florida, they're 11th in the SEC in rush offense. Florida's dead last in the SEC in third down conversions. They're really, really not good on offense. It feels like Florida at this point was kind of a one-day wonder against Tennessee. And that's why I'm going to take Vanderbilt in the 18.5. I don't love that. I don't love taking Vanderbilt really ever. And I seem to have a worse hit percentage on Vanderbilt than I do on just about anybody. But I've got, right now, Vanderbilt plus 18.5 in that game. Big one in Athens. Kentucky at Georgia. Kentucky coming in undefeated. Haven't really played anybody, but did do a great job to hammer Florida at home. Took them out of the game immediately, which is what they should do. Here's the problem I have with Kentucky in this game. Kentucky's going to have the full attention of the most powerful program in the country. I know how that feels because LSU had the full attention of the most powerful program in the country for like 9 straight years, right? You get the full attention of the crowd, the full attention of the coaching staff, the full attention of the players. There's a reason why Missouri can hang around with Georgia last year in Columbia. There's a reason why Auburn can hang around with Georgia this year in Auburn. But last year, when Georgia had Tennessee come to Athens, what happened? You got their full attention. That's what's going to happen in the game. Georgia's run defense is 39th in the country, which is not what we expect. We expect that to be a top 5 unit. And Auburn ran for 219 yards on them. Like, okay. But 92 of that was Peyton Thorne, and he got 60 on one run. I don't see Devin Leary busting off a 60-yard run anytime soon. Kentucky, what they've got to do, the biggest key for Kentucky in this game to stay in it is to avoid the initial onslaught, that Georgia deluge where they go right down the field, 75 yards, touchdown, stop you 3 and out or get a sack fumble, and all of a sudden, boom, it's 14-0. That place is going nuts, and Kentucky is not going to be built to deal with that. You'll get Georgia rushing the passer, athletes everywhere. You're in big trouble. If Kentucky can find a way to bleed some clock early, get a field goal early, get a stop early against a Georgia offense that looks mediocre, then they can stay in it. I don't trust them to do that. I will take Georgia, and I'll lay the 14.5 points in that one. And last one this weekend against the spread, Arkansas is at Ole Miss. 11.5 is the number. We understand that SEC media members are large, especially the internet folks, are largely comprised of like alums of that school. This applies to me 100%. I worked at Bayou Bengals Insider, worked my way to here like I'm an alum. I want LSU to win. I pick LSU. I see things through a rose-colored glass. That's just the way it is. I'm fully aware of it. And most SEC media outlets are like that. And I clicked on, about 25 minutes ago, an Arkansas media company. They had 4 of their staff, their rival staff. 4 of them all picked the game. 3 of the 4 had Arkansas losing by double figures. 4 of the 4 had Arkansas losing the game. That's the way things feel in Fayetteville right now. And we said when they came to LSU after losing to BYU that they would probably lose 4 in a row. They came to LSU. They went to Arlington to play A&M. They got beat. And then they're playing Ole Miss, and they'll play Bama next week. I think they're going to lose them all. The question is, do they cover the 11.5? Arkansas and Mississippi State it's kind of the same type of mentality as I was just talking about. And I just don't know what Ole Miss's defense is. They were decent against Bama. They were terrible last week. Arkansas is last in the SEC in total offense and 13th in explosive plays. Lends me to believe that Ole Miss will probably be able to keep up with them. And we'll see if Ole Miss found Judkins last week or if it's just LSU being terrible. Well, that remains to be seen. Arkansas's run defense statistically is not much better than LSU's. I think Ole Miss will run the ball. I think they will pass the ball. I think they will score a lot. I think Arkansas may be defeated mentally, and I think that Ole Miss will cover the 11.5. So those are my SEC picks against the number. We got Western Michigan plus 20.5. We've got Texas A&M plus 1. We've got Vanderbilt catching 18.5 from Florida. We're laying the 14.5 with Georgia, and we're laying the 11.5 with Ole Miss. Casey, let's put up another Citizens Bank poll question of the day. Are you pulling for Alabama or Texas A&M tomorrow? I'm curious to see how that goes. I got Eduardo, Nuss Bus Driver, in the chat saying I'm pulling for Bama too. I got Brambo saying, hell no, I'm rooting for Texas A&M. I will warn you, I think it's it's not just the fact that I hate Texas A&M, which is why I'm pulling for Bama. It's the fact that I don't want them to catch momentum. I want them to lose to Bama, go lose to Tennessee, I want them to lose to Ole Miss. I'm not worried about Ole Miss catching momentum. Ole Miss is going to be what they are, and if LSU fields a really good football team, they shouldn't be threatened by Ole Miss. But A&M's able to create something that LSU could be in trouble against, and I don't want to deal with that. Not that money, not this era of college athletics. Go Bama, roll Tide, all those things. I'm pulling for Bama tomorrow in College Station. So we'll see what the poll results are as we get to those here 45 minutes from right now. Take a time out, come back with some more sound. We'll talk more LSU, Missouri. This is the Hunt Palmer Show.
You are now listening to the Hunt Palmer Show.
Ochsner Health and MD Anderson Cancer Center have partnered to create Ochsner MD Anderson Cancer Center in southeastern Louisiana. This collaboration provides patients in the regions to access to cancer treatments among the most advanced in the nation. Ochsner is the first and only provider in Louisiana with a fully integrated cancer program that's based on MD Anderson's practice standards and treatment plans. They've got access to MD Anderson's protocols, access to their specialists and their researchers, access to their clinical trials. It'll be made available to some eligible patients in our area. Ochsner and MD Anderson Cancer Center are going to have extensive care and expert care in these 7 locations across New Orleans, St. Tammany, and Baton Rouge, and they're going to certify additional sites moving forward in the future. If you'd like more information on Ochsner MD Anderson Cancer Center, please visit ochsner.org.
In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Was a humid day, barefoot children play, looking for that summer shade. Time just slips away. Oh, Louisiana, some kind of hold on me. Like cypress stumps, your roots are planted deep inside of me.
Scooncha, fall in the air. Fall is right around the corner, which means fall fishing is, which means it's time for you to take your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service in a bunch of different ways. You want a custom stair job, you can have a ton of fun out there on the water. They can do that. What about a spot lock trolling motor? So you stay right where you need to in casting lines. Or sonar that's let you see the fish under the water before you cast. All of your maintenance needs as well. For 38 years, they've been at it and will continue to do so. The Sherman family of front-to-back boat service.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Would a couple that just came from a couples massage have any use for the massage seats of the Infiniti QX60? Yes, it appears they would. With driver and passenger massage seats, mute all your notifications and feel infinitely.
For a Monday edition of Off the Bench, as we recap LSU versus Missouri and Saints versus Patriots. We also have a new edition of Weekend Winners, and Hold the Mayo joins the show for a new edition of Spread Lines. Off the Bench, 7 to 10 a.m., 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Corks, Cajun Fried Fish and Shrimp.
So the news of the day yesterday was that Deuce Chestnut, LSU cornerback, is not with the team currently. Brian Kelly told the media that. And when I heard that, obviously it's a bummer. Not that Deuce Chestnut has been an all-league player to this point, but nobody on that defense has been an all-league player to this point. And I thought about an interview that Deuce Chestnut gave back in August when we were having player interviews a couple times a week. And that's a guy who was an all-league player at Syracuse and decided to put his name in the portal to see what options he might have, and he landed on LSU. And when he got here, was pretty candid about his decision to come to Baton Rouge and play for the Tigers. This was Deuce Chestnut back in August.
I mean, LSU is DBU. Everybody knows that. Any school that says they're DBU just is trying to be a part of the conversation. LSU has always been DBU. I kind of watched guys like Patrick Peterson and Tyrann Mathieu growing up, so LSU's been my dream school since a child. Everybody know I wanted to go to LSU coming out of high school. Obviously, things didn't go that way, but, God plans and able to get me here, and I'm just grateful for it.
You hear that in August, and you look back at, 3 months later, and you go, man, what happened? And I have no idea what happened. Couldn't even speculate and wouldn't want to speculate on the air. But it's disappointing for this team because you look up and you've got a group of corners when you report to camp. And that group, of course, includes Denver Harris and Zy Alexander. And it includes J.K. Johnson and it includes Deuce Chestnut. And that's 4 older players. You got Sage Ryan and Greg Brooks who kind of go back and forth. You bring in Javian Toviano. You've got Ashton Stamps and LaTerrence Welch, who's been here for a couple of years. And you've got some decent numbers there. And then all of a sudden you look up and Greg Brooks is gone and J.K. Johnson is hurt and Deuce Chestnut's not with the team. And Javian Toviano and another freshman are sitting down and likely redshirting. And you look up and basically all you've got at corner is Denver Harris, Zy Alexander, Ashton Stamps, and LaTerrence Welch. It's low on numbers. There's no two ways about it. You were in a position when you had Greg Brooks to potentially play Sam and Burns and Brooks and kind of play 3 safeties. I don't know that you want to do that now. Maybe you could with Ryan Yates. I'm not sure how they feel about that, but essentially you're going to be forced into that in some capacity. They're very low on numbers at defensive back, and it's not a great feeling going up against a quarterback in Cook, who's thrown for 340-plus yards the last 3 weeks and has got Luther Burden on the outside, who's one of the top receivers in the country. It's tough, but this defense has got to find a way to pick itself up and play better than they did last week. The good news is that no one's asking them to be the best defense in college football. You just got to be better than you were last week. And so there's I've asked this to a couple of different media people this week, and I'll ask my guys on the pregame show tomorrow. Is this a week where you kick some guys in the pants, or is this a week where you pat him on the shoulder and give him a hug? And Brian Kelly talked about what his message to his defense was this week.
We said these are the things that we're going to do this week to affect change here. We're bringing in Pete Jenkins. We're going to work on technique. We're going to go to 4 down, and we're going to be in a 4-down defense. We're going to take away a lot more of the air and gaps within our defense. Here's what we're doing in tackling. So we laid all that out for our guys so they knew what the plan was throughout the week. And now they can wrap their heads around and say, all right, here we go. Let's go to work.
And they went to work. And we'll see. We'll see if we can notice any change. I think the most obvious way to notice it would be if you get some 3 and outs, you get some stops, you lower the points on the scoreboard. I'll just be curious as me, the novice viewer, as watching the game, am I going to be able to notice alignment differences? Am I going to be able to notice guys moving around in different places? Am I going to personnel changes? We're going to see. But what Kelly said last night on his coach's show at TJ Ribbs on the LSU Sports Radio Network with Chris Blair was, hey, what about the line of scrimmage?
They haven't had a defensive line coach since the spring, and that's on me. They need somebody to work technique and be on top of things, and you'll see a difference relative to the line of scrimmage. And if you're really creating a new line of scrimmage, then there's less air to tackle in and less space. And so I think you'll start to see that from a defensive perspective.
He said new line of scrimmage a ton of times this week. That has been a very much a talking point this week of creating a new line of scrimmage. And Missouri's going to try to run the football. We talk about their passing offense all the time. Cody Schrader is their running back. He actually ranks 4th among active NCAA players in rushing yards, with over 4,200 rushing yards in his career. Of course, he's a transfer from Truman State, a lower-level school. He's averaging 100.7 yards per game, 6.2 yards per carry, leads all SEC backs. But when I turn on the tape, I'm a little skeptical. I mean, he's a little undersized. He doesn't have breakaway speed. He runs really hard. But this is not Najee Harris, Derrick Henry, okay? This is not even like the quickness and explosiveness of like Dexter McCluster or Devon Achane or some of these SEC backs that you've seen over time. This, to me, is a very average running back and a pretty average offensive line. Their left tackle's been brilliant for him. He's had a fantastic start to his season, but it's not a team that I think should be able to just gash LSU on the ground. Of course, I didn't think Ole Miss would last year. At least Ole Miss has shown themselves to do that last year. They just hadn't figured it out this year. Missouri, I would really hope, wouldn't be able to just gash LSU on the ground. It may be the defensive front, it may be the linebackers, maybe the secondary, but somebody's going to have to tackle somebody. And Brian Kelly talked about that last night.
This week I said, look, we're going to tackle all practice. And I don't mean bring them to the ground. I mean form, fit, tackle everything that we do and put ourselves in a position where our face mask works across the bow of the body. We're not going to hit with the head, but we're going to put ourselves in a position to tackle. And we did that for probably 40% of the practice, whereas normally we do it maybe 5 to 10% of the practice.
Look, I'm looking at the Bayou Ford chat right now, and I got a bunch of people talking about Kelly and buyouts and all this kind of stuff, which is just not even a conversation worth entertaining at this point. It's ludicrous, but it's where the fans are, and I'm only speaking to the fans here. Certainly not the administration or the coaching staff or the football team. This is just to you, the fan. We talk about press conference answers all the time and what's satisfactory and what isn't and what fans want to hear and what they don't. And I talked about on Tuesday, like, I just don't care what you say in the press conference because 95% of it is fabricated or half-truths or being coy, or it's just, you're not going to always say what you think and what you feel in a practice, whether it's with injuries, whether it's with another team. You're not. Brian Kelly gets up there on Monday before the Grambling game and talks about how great Grambling is. Newsflash, they suck. That's just part of the press conference situation. But in this instance, we're talking about answering for problems within the football program. And last night, you hear Brian Kelly say, hey, we're going to put 4 down linemen down there. That's new. We're going to do some different things with a different line of scrimmage with the new defensive line coach that we brought in. We practice differently this week than we have any other week. This is not like Les Miles getting up there going, the engine's pretty stinking good. We're good, and not making any effort to change or do anything different ever. Saying we're gonna block it, we're gonna tackle it, it's gonna be fine, we're good. This is a guy who's saying, look, we're terrible right now. I'm telling you, we're bad. Here's what we're doing to fix it. My point is, I don't care what you say in the press conference, just fix it. But for those that do want answers and do want humility and do want accountability in a press conference, like, you're getting it from Brian Kelly here. He's telling you that we're doing things differently up front. We're going to cycle some different guys in. He said that Jordan Jefferson was going to play a little bit more, and he said that you're going to see Deshaun Womack play a little bit more, and he said that, hey, we're practicing differently with tackling. Like, all that kind of stuff is that, it's being accountable, and it's saying we're making changes. Again, show me Saturday at 11 a.m. Show me Saturday at 11 a.m. that this is getting a little bit better. Doesn't have to be all world. Just got to get a little bit better. LSU and Missouri, 11 o'clock, 11:07 is your actual kickoff time. I'm going to remind you about Cork's Cajun Fried Fish and Shrimp. You're getting some folks over to watch LSU on Saturday or the Saints on Sunday. Cork's Cajun Fried Fish and Shrimp can help you out. They got the big haul, which is just a bulk order for 4 or 5 people. It'll get you your crispy fried catfish, get you that delicious jumbo Gulf shrimp, your shoestring fries that are crispy as well, your honey biscuits. That'll get you, feed 4 or 5. You got more people coming over, just let them know. They do catering, and they're great at it over there at Cork. So give them a call, give them some notice, and let them cater your watch party. Or how about next week when you come back, LSU and Auburn in Tiger Stadium, if you're going to be tailgating, looking to spice things up a little bit different food, Corks can help you out with your catering. If you're just looking for lunch or dinner this evening, I would offer up Corks. It's not just that delicious fried catfish and delicious fried shrimp. They've also got loaded baked potato that's got covered with crawfish etouffee and those delicious golden fried shrimp. They can help you out with the salad. As I was mentioning earlier in the first hour, my wife's company got the catering done for lunch last week, and they did it with no batter. They did it unfried, It was fried without the batter and just with the seasoning. It's fantastic. Cork's Cajun Fried Fish and Shrimp, proud sponsor here of the Hunt Palmer Show, and we appreciate them bringing you our Friday shows. Check out that menu at corksfishandshrimp.com. You can find them on Government Street. We'll take a time out when we come back. A little bit of take it or leave it, and then we'll make our final pick for LSU and Missouri, as well as the Saints and the Patriots.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Snap into action this NFL season with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers can get $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place a $5 bet. That's $200 in bonus bets, win or lose. You've been thinking about joining FanDuel, no better place, no better time to get in on the action than right now. The app's easy to use. There's a wide range of betting options that include spreads, player props, over-unders, and more. Visit FanDuel.com/1045ESPN and kick off the NFL season. FanDuel, official partner of the NFL. Must be 21 and present in Louisiana. First online real money wager. Only $10 first deposit required. Bonus issues, knowledgeable bonus bet that expires 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. If you or someone who has a gambling problem wants help, call 1-877-770-STOP.
Our listeners fire off their opinions on the jimsfirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the jimsfirearms.net hotline on 1045 ESPN Baton Rouge.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
His name was Cain. He had a horse along the countryside. I saw him ride. One day they found him.
The interior of an Infiniti is thoughtfully designed to be all about you. And by you, we mean every version of you. Because there's luxury you can feel, and there's luxury that lets you feel. Infinitely you. Experience luxury like never before with Infiniti Premium Care, included with the 2023 QX80 at your local retailer.
Sandgrove, join us for the Monday edition of Live at Lunch for 10 a.m. from Walk-Ons in Brewley. Short trip across the river, and it includes the Brian Kelly press conference. Live at Lunch, 10 a.m. on Monday on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
You're listening to the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Corks, Cajun Fried Fish and Shrimp.
All right, we got 30 minutes left. Actually, really 20 minutes left for us because we get off the air a few minutes before 3 o'clock, and it's already 2:35. So, 20 minutes left in this work week for us. Hope your work week is winding down. You're working towards the weekend, another football weekend. My picks on both the South Louisiana games coming up. But first, let's play some Take It or Leave It.
All right, first one here. Griffin Herring and Nate Ackenhausen's fall debut. Take it or leave it.
I'll take it. That's who was on the mound to start things last night as we went out to the box. I really enjoyed just being out there. Got a little daiquiri, hung out with Musso. We watched a little bit of baseball. I watched about 4 innings, and Herring and Ackenhausen both out there. Both looked good. Both threw a lot of strikes. They're left-handed, which is the case of most of LSU's staff at this point. I enjoyed Michael Braswell getting a couple of hits, including a big home run. That's the South Carolina transfer. I was not there anymore, but Ashton Larson hit a home run. He looks really put together as a freshman. Sometimes freshmen show up real skinny. It is not the case with him. He should compete in the outfield. There's some guys that are incumbents there with Paxton Kling to a degree, and obviously Josh Pearson, and then you bring in Mac Bingham. So it's going to be tough for somebody to unseat somebody there. But as far as the pitching goes, I thought Herring and Ackenhausen both looked good. Herring threw some really good breaking balls for strikes, and just good to get out there and see a little bit of low-stress baseball in a place that not so long ago had some really good memories in as the Tigers punched a ticket to Omaha. So enjoyed it, and I'll hope to get back out there this weekend. We'll talk a little baseball next week.
Texas will cement its place near or at the top of college football on Saturday and are officially back if they win. Take it or leave it.
It depends on how they win. I'll leave it. I don't know how good Oklahoma is. We know they're a year removed from a complete dud. They've been better early. I tend to buy Texas for 2 reasons. One, I think Ewers is really good. I thought he was good early last year, and I thought he's been great this year. And I just like the way they played at the line of scrimmage against Alabama. They were able to hold up to a physical Alabama team. Now, maybe Alabama's not very good on the offensive line, and that's a concern of mine big time entering into this game against Texas A&M. But Texas just, again, they're recruiting at a high level. That's how you get good. And we'll see as they enter the SEC, and I'm sure my hatred for them will skyrocket. It's not there right now, and we got a Texas Tech grad that works with us here that'll say it'll happen real quick. It happened for A&M with me real quick, so we'll see. But that one doesn't move the needle for me a lot. We'll see what happens. But if Texas goes in there and wins by 2 or 3 scores, I think you can really consider them as potentially the best team in the country.
Joey Votto turned 40 last month, said he still wants to play at least 1 more year. He hit 203 in his last 2 seasons. Votto should hang it up now. Take it or leave it.
I'll take it. He is maybe the most underrated player of this generation because of where he played.
Yeah.
I saw him way too much as a guy that was in my division, and he's a Hall of Famer, no doubt, in my book. For a decade span, he was the toughest out in Major League Baseball. Not the best power threat, not the most dangerous hitter, but he was the toughest out. He got on base better than anyone for 10 years. And that's very, very important. He's also a solid defender over there at first base and a great teammate, great guy, and City of Cincinnati absolutely loves him. So I don't need to see him out there anymore. He is not a great hitter anymore at all. He still takes some walks and hits some home runs, but when your batting average is 203, your on-base percentage better be astronomically good because of walks, and it's just not there anymore. So I get why these guys want to hang on. They want to keep playing. They want to keep doing it because once you're done, you're done. But he's done. So I think he should hang it up. I'm sure somebody will sign him because what he knows about the game is so valuable in terms of pitch recognition, pitch selection, scouting pitchers, getting on base, being a professional, coming to work every day. Like, all those things are very important in a clubhouse, and there are reasons why guys who are past their prime hang around a little bit longer. And Votto is one of those guys that I'm sure somebody will give a look. Sounds like Cincinnati's not going to do it, but he was a heck of a player in his prime.
A high of 78 degrees tomorrow in the capital city. Take it or leave it.
I will take it. I'll take it. I don't have to have hot weather. That may be a misconception that people have that I need it to be hot. No, I just tolerate heat far better than I tolerate cold. Cool and comfortable is obviously perfect, and I'll take 78 degrees. The good news that very few people tend to talk about when they talk about our summer weather is the fact that quite often in December, it's like 63.
Yep.
No one wants to bring that up. They want to just talk about how it's so hot down here. Well, there's also a faction of the year that's very nice, and it's awful at that point in a lot of the country. And oh, by the way, I've been to like New York City and Chicago and Omaha in the summer. It's damn hot there too. So I'm good. I think our weather's great, and I'm fired up for the weekend of a little breeze coming in. I'm sure the Palmer family will go for a nice walk, and we'll enjoy some things. But yeah, I'm all for it. I don't have to have it 103. I'm just okay if it's 103. I'll be just fine. Just stay away from 33. That we cannot do.
Last one here. Game time temps around 55 degrees in Columbia. Football weather. Take it or leave it.
I will take that. We're teetering, though. 55 is about as low as we can go.
Yeah.
50 is not football weather. And what game was that last year that was so cold? We played somebody
Arkansas.
in the non-conference. No, we played somebody in the non-conference at the end of last year. Somebody in the Bayou Ford chat will tell me, or I could look it up. I can't even remember who we played. That was awful. The press box windows opened up, and I sat there for like 3 minutes and just shut it. It was like, no chance. I'm dealing with this wind and rain and cold.
Oh, was it UAB?
Was that it?
Yeah, that was November 19th.
That's it. It was. Can you pull a box score up from that?
Yeah.
Tell me what the temperature was. I think it was an 8 o'clock game. It was a late night game. I bet it was not 45. Does it have a temp on there?
Yeah, I'm going to have to go to the ESPN box score.
Oh, my goodness. Nookie says, first Christmas I lived in Louisiana, I threw a party and got to wear shorts. I have played golf on Christmas in shorts many times, and that is just fine with me. I don't need a white Christmas. That does nothing for me.
I'm not seeing one.
No weather. Well, it was awful. And, I remember I had Under Armour on doing the pregame show outside. Like that was terrible. That anybody who wants to suggest to me that Green Bay has football weather or that the Bears have football weather in January is nuts. That weather is unfit for human activity. Football weather is.
Oh, it was 46
and raining. Was, and I'm sure it was dropping as the game went on. By 10 o'clock, I'm sure it was 42 and raining. That is just unacceptable. Football weather there by any metric. So yeah, I'm okay with 55. It's at 11 o'clock. I'm sure the sun will be out. That's great. I think everybody should be pretty comfortable. But you start dipping below that, I'm totally out. Thankfully, LSU this year did toss in a couple of sweatshirts for us to be on the network. So shout out LSU for that. I appreciate it. I hope I don't have to use them, but in the event that we do, we will. I think it's supposed to get back up into the high 80s next week, and when Auburn comes to town, it'll still be sweat-inducing out there, but that's okay. We'll be all right. That's it for Take It or Leave It here on this Football Friday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show. We're brought to you by Corks Cajun Fried Fish and Shrimp. We've only got one more order of business left here on this Friday, and that is to make my picks. I'll pick Saints at Patriots. I'll pick LSU at Missouri. And then we'll hand the keys off to Matt Moscona. So come back with us after this timeout on the Hunt Palmer Show.
You are now listening to the Hunt Palmer Show.
Jersey Mike's a little late for lunch, but dinner, Jersey Mike's still very much an option. And certainly, if you're headed out to a high school football game this evening, looking to feed a crew that's headed out there, Jersey Mike's can help you out. Love our folks over there at Highway 30 in Gonzales, near the new Heritage Shopping Center. Get that original Italian, got the prosciutto, capicola, salami, pepperoni. They got their famous cheesesteaks. Their number 17 is their best-selling cheesesteak. It's that tender steak, peppers, onions, white American cheese. They do chicken cheesesteaks too, which I love. The Bacon Ranch chicken cheesesteak, fantastic. How about this deal if you do get a catering order from the Jersey Mike's location on Highway 30 in Gonzales? 20% off for listeners of the Hunt Palmer Show. So go in, get that catering order, tell them you're with the Hunt Palmer Show, 20% off. We invite you to download the Jersey Mike's app, stop by and see our friends at that location on Highway 30 in Gonzales. Whether it's a quick lunch, big order before you head out to the high school football games, tailgating next week, or feeding the office as well, Jersey Mike's can help you out. Make it Jersey Mike's.
In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com. Follow us on Twitter at 1045ESPN to cast your vote in the Citizens Bank and Trust Poll of the Day. Vote daily inside Off the Bench, live at lunch, Hunt Palmer. And after further review, Citizens Bank and Trust brings you the Poll of the Day via Twitter at 1045ESPN.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. and backed by the one-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
His name was Cain. He had a horse along the countryside. I saw him ride. One day they found him.
The importance of doing this fortified program and offering it to people down here is, number one, the only real chance you're going to get to do this is when you put on a new roof or build new. And through companies like HUDCO, who's kind of leading the way in this thing, it's going to offer the customers a huge advantage in the insurance market and the price of their insurance.
You know, we're not looking to make a fortune off fortifying. We're trying to give you a better product than our competitor at the moment. I'm trying to do something that he can. I'm trying to give you something better. So a lot of these insurance jobs, you're getting a re-roof, you're only paying your deductible. Let's sit down and talk about the fortified and let's see what it does to your insurance premium. You're getting a steal.
Yeah.
You're getting a brand new roof and a fortified certificate for your deductible, essentially. And I think we're rocking and rolling.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Scooncha, fall in the air. Fall is right around the corner, which means fall fishing is, which means it's time for you to take your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service in a bunch of different ways. You want a custom stair job, you can have a ton of fun out there on the water. They can do that. What about a spot lock trolling motor? So you stay right where you need to in casting lines. Or sonar that's let you see the fish under the water before you cast. All of your maintenance needs as well.
Week 6 in the prep football season, and we get started with Louisiana Prep Preview, presented by Brock at 6. Catholic High and Liberty kick off at 7, and that's immediately followed by the Week 6 edition of Louisiana Prep Scoreboard, presented by Lake Urgent Care. On YouTube, Your View and 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Corks, Cajun Fried Fish and Shrimp.
Appreciate the folks over at Corks bringing our Friday shows each and every day. CorksFishandShrimp.com is your website. If you missed any of today's show, you can always catch it on demand. 1045ESPN.com's on-demand tab, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, or, of course, on YouTube. Open the day talking about LSU's running offense against the run defense of Missouri, which statistically has been fantastic this year. Preston Guy of TigerBait.com with us each and every Friday. He was with us at 1:15. Went through the NFL slate at 1:30. Heard a little bit from Jaden Daniels about this LSU passing attack at 1:45. My picks against the spread at the Southeastern Conference at 2 o'clock. A little more LSU, Missouri at 2:15, and take it or leave it. We invite you to catch any and all of that on demand. Got a couple of YouTube channels we'd love you to subscribe to. Hunt on LSU, as well as Hunt on Saints. All your Saints football, all your LSU football right there on those two YouTube channels. You can check those out. Beck does an awesome job cutting those up into 10-minute digestible pieces that you can find on your homepage really, really quickly. Tomorrow, LSU Sports Radio Network, really the entirety of the broadcast schedule for you. 7 o'clock, Eagle 98.1 Game Days. Pre-game show will be right here in the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio. It'll be Matt Musso and Charles Handegraaff, 7 o'clock until 9 o'clock. That's when they hand things off to us on the LSU Sports Radio Network. It'll be me, Marlon Favorite, and Garrett Brumfield. Some big boys doing some pre-game work. We'll go until 10:30. Hand it off to the broadcast team with the voice of the Tigers, Chris Blair. He'll take you the distance in the ball game in Columbia, Missouri. 30 minutes after it goes final, me, Marlon, and Garrett back with you for an hour. 90 minutes after the game goes final, it'll be Eagle 98.1 Game Days post-game show from Rouse's. Charles Handegraaff and Richard Dixon taking your phone calls and reacting. So really from 7 a.m. to probably 8 p.m. or so, we will be on the air here on Eagle 98.1. So that sets you up for tomorrow. One thing left to do for us. We'll start with a pick of the Saints at the Patriots.
New Orleans Saints. The New England Patriots. Final pick.
Look, we're down on the Saints right now. They've lost a couple in a row, blew a huge lead in Green Bay, and it was awful last week against Tampa. Just a putrid performance offensively. And so these Saints are struggling to find an identity. It's just simply not the Sean Payton, Drew Brees Saints anymore. And it's not the Tom Brady, Bill Belichick Patriots anymore. I know Bill's still there, but we're talking about a Patriots team that is 26-18 since Tom Brady left. We're talking about a Patriots team that can't win at home. They're a losing football team at home since Tom Brady left. These 2023 Pats are 1-3, and the one win was against the Jets in a 15-10 game. The Patriots offense is 30th of 32 teams in points scored. They benched their quarterback last week. They're 24th in rushing offense. They're in the bottom 10 in the league in gaining first downs. Maybe Bailey Zappi's I don't know. The Saints defense should muzzle the Patriots. Problem is, can they score? They haven't done that very well at all. We know that. Patriots defense hasn't been great. 21st in scoring defense, 23rd in total defense. They're missing Matthew Judon, their best player. They're missing their best corner in Christian Gonzalez. It doesn't look like a solid Patriots team. And I'm just going to cling to a little bit of hope here with the Saints. Just a little bit. And say, hey, maybe they'll do enough to score and that defense will show up the way that we know it can. This feels like a race to 20, right? I'll take the Saints 20-18. Do I feel awesome about it? I don't. Would it surprise me if the Saints got beat? It would not. Will it be a difficult Monday to digest the Saints' third loss in a row and their prospects moving forward? Yeah. I think they can do enough. That defense is still really good, and Mac Jones sucks. So give me the Saints. I'll take them to win 21-18. Now, final pick, LSU, Missouri.
LSU on the road in Columbia, Missouri at Faurot Field to take on the Mizzou Tigers.
We need to be pissed off about what happened and have some resolve. Listen, we're not canceling the season, okay? We're going to be there, and we're going to work our tails off to get better.
Looking to rebound and play up to our standards. So excited about this opportunity.
And the Missouri Tigers.
We're just trying to be where our feet are. To be honest, I haven't really looked back at the start or where we're at. I think there was a lot of that game that was a special performance by Ole Miss as much as anything.
Now, final pick.
This starts with LSU down here. We got a special offense here. This is really fun to watch when Jaden Daniels and his crew have the football. And I want to lead with that here. But the story all week's been the defense and how much better they could get. We thought they might struggle a little bit entering the season. It is worse than I imagined. I did not see this coming. You can say, oh, a nice pick. Florida State beat LSU. Like, that was nice. Well, I thought the defense might struggle. I didn't see this. This is putrid. There's no pass rush. There's no ability to stop the run. There's no big plays being made. There's nobody covering. There's lack of communication. We got guys loafing. It's a sad state of affairs in LSU land on defense right now. There's no question about that. I'm self-aware of that, okay? But here's the other piece to this. I was told in a St. Louis hit that I did this week that this is the biggest game that Missouri's played since 2014. Big spot for Missouri. I was also asked in that interview on a St. Louis radio station to compare this offense that LSU's running right now to the Cam Newton offense. He played for Auburn. Maybe he meant Joe Burrow. Slip of the tongue. I don't know. Maybe he meant we wanted me to compare this to the Auburn offense. What I think is that he is up there in Yankeeville in the Midwest and has no idea what's going on in SEC football. That's what I think. And I think that applies to the entire Missouri fan base that really has no idea what they're doing down here. This pick that I am making today has very little to do with X's and O's. This pick that I am making today has everything to do with my ego as an LSU alum who feels like he's got a college football blue blood, who's attended 4 national championships and seen his team win 3, who won the West last year and feels like he's got a certain spot in college football, and I don't think Missouri deserves any piece of it. We are LSU. They're frickin' Missouri. You go up there, you get a couple of stops, you score 45 points, and you come back and get ready to play Auburn, who's a real member of the Southeastern Conference. I have no time and no patience to go up to Missouri and get embarrassed. I don't have any time for that. Final score, LSU 45, Missouri 30. It better look something like that, or we got real issues coming on Monday. That's the next time I will see you on these airways. Catch you on the network tomorrow. Matt's called me a homer. He's next. Have a good weekend. Come on, Tigers.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is